Perfect. So if you guys feel comfortable, if you want to take off your mic and tell us where your name, where you're interested in studying abroad, and when, or if you prefer, you can also send it via chat, just to give us an idea of what you guys are thinking about in terms of where you want to go and what you want to study. And also, I do want to just introduce one more person who just joined in. We have Abdel here. He is a graduate intern in the Study Abroad office. So if you'd like to take a minute to send where you would like to study abroad and when in the chat, that would be great. And while we do that, I'm going to start sharing my screen and we can kind of jump in. Okay. Can everyone see the screen okay?
It looks great, Emily.
Thank you. So we're going to start off with a quick video. Oh. I'm not sure how this is going to come across in Zoom. Let me know.
We don't have audio of the video.
Okay.
Or I don't.
Okay, fair enough. We'll just skip over that. We're all learning. I'll let you take over, Jillian.
Sure, yeah. So like I said, my name's Jillian. I'm an intern in the Study Abroad office, and I have studied abroad twice. The first was the summer after my freshman year. I went to Iceland on a faculty-led trip, and then I did a semester exchange the fall semester of my junior year in the Netherlands at the University of Groningen. And sort of like a lot of students, I was inspired to study abroad by one of my family members who was an avid traveler, and he just sort of he gave me these really great ideas about just how to broaden my worldview and sort of become a better person by learning about other people. And so one of the reasons that I personally wanted to study abroad was just to experience kind of that personal growth like we have up here, and to sort of like increase my global awareness. But there are so many reasons that you should study abroad, and so those are just a couple of mine personally, but you can see listed here. We have several. I'll read you just the bolded parts, but so you can increase your global awareness and connections. This happens by, you can literally make connections, right? I'm still talking to people from Groningen all the time. And those are coming in handy as I move on in my educational career. Just enhancing your academic experience. I still talk all the time about sort of the readings and discussions that I had in a different cultural context. And I talk about those in my classes here. You can, as I am also doing now, you can enhance your career and graduate school prospects, and then also experience that personal growth in various ways, which I think Emily is also going to talk about a little bit. But then you can also, of course, learn another language, right? It's especially, exciting if you're a student who's already studying a language, or if you have experience with a language and you want to strengthen your skills. One of the best ways is to just sort of immerse yourself in that environment, right? But of course, you don't have to do that. It's just one of the many, many options.
Thank you. Yeah, and I know for me, so I kind of had two different experiences. One was a experience abroad for the semester during my undergraduate experience, where I studied abroad in England. The second one was actually an internship abroad that I did in graduate school in Ireland. And both of those experiences had obviously were very impactful for me. I wouldn't be here if I hadn't had those experiences, and they weren't impactful for me. One of the best things about getting the international education experience while I was in England. I studied abroad at a program called Edge Hill University in the northwest of England. And they offered coursework that my home institution didn't offer. And in the classroom setting, I was able to take classes with British students as well as, all my professors were British. And so they added a really interesting perspective to the subject area that I had been studying. They had, I was learning about concepts that we just really didn't discuss in the United States. And I remember, I will never forget one particular class, or it was a series of classes where we were talking about, it was a marketing class, and we were talking about the concept of Americanization. And to be the lone American student in that classroom and to be talking about this kind of concept, it really helped me to kind of see my own culture and the business practices of the United States from an outsider's perspective, which was really enlightening. And something that you just can't get when you stay home and you don't have that diversity in the classroom that you would get from an education abroad experience. And of course, my experience in Ireland actually doing an internship gave me more concrete resume skills that I could put on my resume. Things I worked at a Irish institution while I was there, so the learning how to navigate cultural norms of working in the Irish environment was something that I will never forget and always helps me in my work today. So as I work with individuals from all over the world and what I do. So I just wanted to share those two perspectives on how it personally impacted my own life. Of course, also it was just about the best semester in college for me, and it was a wonderful time to travel and see the sights. But that's just Jillian and my perspective, but certainly we wanted to share a few perspectives from some names you might recognize. President Barack Obama said, "Simple exchanges like this can break down walls between us. For when people come together and to speak with one another and share a common experience, and the common humanity is revealed," which I think is really important to think about. William Fulbright, who the Fulbright Scholarship is named after, who was a big proponent for international education, recognized that educational exchange can turn nations into people, contributing as no other form of communication can to the humanizing of international relations. President Ronald Reagan said that this kind of experience can elevate our ideals, deepen our tolerance, and sharpen our appetite for knowledge about the rest of the world. And anybody who's had these kind of experiences can attest to that kind of experience from a study abroad. So I'm going to turn over to Jillian, Jillian, I'm going to introduce these and then I'll turn it over to you. So a little bit about what we offer at SUNY Geneseo. We have 60 plus countries, we have about 60 programs at Geneseo, but within the SUNY system, there's over 900 programs in 60 plus countries. And so we kind of break these down into different kinds of experiences. We call one of these experiences a host institution or a partner experience. This means that you are going to be spending the academic year, fall, spring, summer, abroad at a partner institution or a host institution. So this could be something like you are going to direct enroll at Trinity College in Dublin, Ireland. This could be that you are going to be studying at a language school like Academia Latina Americana in Peru. This might mean that you're going to be taking courses in English at Sogang University in South Korea, even though the coursework is in English, you might have students from around the world, including South Korea, in your class. So this can take many different forms. And like I said, you can go over a variety of terms for this kind of program or this kind of experience. A faculty-led program means that you are taking a Geneseo course and you're traveling with a Geneseo faculty member, and this usually takes place over the summer or winter intersession. It can also take place over spring break. Sometimes these are domestic programs, and sometimes, most of the time, these are international programs. And so we always offer usually a robust variety of programs offered by our faculty during the summer and winter intersession. Then there are a new category where with the COVID-19 pandemic and the halting of study abroad programs for a little while. We've been working on virtual global education experiences, and oftentimes these are internships or coursework from our partners overseas. And this is a way for you to still get an international experience, whether it's working for an international organization or company through an internship, or whether it's studying under international professors around the world, and to still get an international experience even if you can't physically travel there. And like I said, there's plenty of opportunities throughout the SUNY system. So if we don't offer the program, we don't offer the program in the location that you're looking for, I'm sure there's somebody in the SUNY system who might have that program. Also, I just want to make a note that it's important that you consider your personal, academic, and professional goals when choosing a study abroad program. It's important to think about study abroad just like you think about college as an investment, and to think about what will help leverage what opportunity, what experience will leverage you the best for your future, and to really think about that, and not just as oh, I really just want to travel. Travel is an important part of it, but I would challenge you to think about how you can leverage your study abroad experience for your future goals. So I'll turn it over to Jillian.
Great. So I can speak to personal experiences with both a host institution program and a faculty-led program. And so my first program, like I mentioned before, was a faculty-led in the summer. And sort of some of the benefits of doing that kind of program were, first of all, you're not taking time out of the semester when, right, you could be on campus making sort of connections with friends. So this was for me, like I said, after my freshman year, sort of new at the college. And I didn't like my major when I started, so I needed to like shake things up and just like figure out where I needed to be. And this happened to be the perfect program for me to do that. So I did the Iceland Geology and Creative Writing hybrid course. And I was on the creative writing side of it, but it was a spectacular opportunity because I got a little bit of science and a little bit of creative writing, and I wanted to be in both of those areas. And so that was really great. But coming back to Geneseo, I had these connections that I had made with SUNY Geneseo professors abroad. And those kinds of connections are not ones that I think you can really make on campus. So it was like I would wake up every day and the first people I would see were these professors. We would go out in the field, and of course it depends on the program. In this one in particular, we would be like out in the wilderness of Iceland, like writing on a rock. Like it was really, really cool, and a different kind of setting than a classroom, of course. So those kinds of bonds that you form with professors and other SUNY Geneseo students are pretty much unmatchable. And that was totally manifest when I returned to Geneseo, because this particular professor I was working with, sort of in correspondence after I had come back, was still in contact with me and suggested a major change. And he gave me like a couple of ideas, and I ended up changing my major to women's and gender studies, which is what I am now. But I would never have done that if I hadn't met this professor and he had introduced it to me. He also, semesters later, invited me to participate in this small group class called New Right. And so it was just like another special opportunity that sort of came out of this one experience with Geneseo people. So faculty-led is great for what it can give you, both while you're abroad with a faculty member and Geneseo students, but also what it can give you when you come back. My exchange was obviously different situation. I basically swapped places, right, with a student who was studying in the Netherlands. So I went over there, and it was really cool because um, the city of Groningen is really international. So I was able to connect with international students from all over the world, right? So like I made all of these friends who went back home. And so I have contacts in like Spain and Lithuania and just everywhere. It was really, really nice. And I didn't get that kind of thing with the faculty led. And so that was really cool. But then I also just was exposed to a completely different way of interacting with university faculty and engaging with academic material. Like you sort of mentioned, Emily, like getting these different sort of perspectives on, I mean, literally participating in education, first of all, because classes and academic semesters are scheduled differently, but then there's also just the actual material that's delivered. Just totally new perspectives that ended up being really, really beneficial back at home, but certainly pushed me outside my comfort zone, which I think I gained a lot of strength from. And so, of course, that one was also a longer program, so it was the full semester. And there are different like challenges and also benefits that come with that kind of thing too. So both really great opportunities, and I think that there are some amazing benefits of all the kinds of avenues that we offer.
Thank you. And I do want to mention, so Jillian briefly touched on exchange, the term exchange. We also have what we would call one directional. So just want to touch on that a little bit. Exchange, like Jillian described, essentially we're receiving students from that university abroad, and we're sending students to that university. And so what that means is each set of students gets to pay their homeschool tuition. So exchanges are often seen as synonymous with more affordable study abroad programs. The other term being one directional means that we just send students to that institution. So just something that I think would be helpful when you're looking at study abroad programs. You might see the term exchange, and that's what we mean by that. This map here just outlines, it's a little outdated, but it generally shows you where we at SUNY Geneseo have study abroad programs. Certainly, like I said, there's over 60 plus countries represented by the SUNY system. So, there's countries where SUNY, if not SUNY Geneseo, has a program. And I just also want to make note that this is always changing. And it's, faculty-led programs especially depend on what faculty want to teach and where they want to go to teach. So that's always changing. So like, for example, I know next winter we have a faculty member who wants to lead a program to Australia. So this is winter 2022. And do a faculty-led program while he's in Australia. Those kinds of things change, year to year. So what's changed with COVID-19? That's kind of the big question right now. We are, this is a constant, constantly changing thing. We're always having to evaluate. The best resource I can recommend that you look at is our COVID-19 FAQ page. Can everyone see that? On the FAQ page? Okay, thank you. This page outlines maybe some of the questions like, have you suspended any study abroad programs? What happens when I go abroad and there's an outbreak of COVID-19? What happened? Do I need a quarantine when I go abroad? So this website addresses a lot of those questions that you might have. As of right now, spring 2021 programs are still operating. Summer programs are limited to our programs through our partners. So we are not offering any faculty-led study abroad programs for summer 2021 only because of the nature of running and operating those kinds of programs. But we do have a full, robust list of partner programs that we are hoping to offer. And I'm feeling very hopeful about summer 2021 and fall 2021. So we outline here how we make decisions and assess risks of study abroad locations. Two of the major resources that we rely on are the Center for Disease Control, or the CDC, and the US Department of State. They both assess countries' risks and have a system for looking at the risk of traveling to those countries. So we rely on those to help guide our decisions, as well as some other resources, including OSAC and country-specific resources. And then we have a timeline of dates that we're looking at. So the earliest possible date that we would look to suspend a program for summer 2021 would be March 15th. For fall or the academic year, it's June 1st. So we lay this out here to kind of help you guys understand kind of what our decision timeline is like. We obviously don't want to cancel a program too soon, but we also don't want to cancel a program too late. So it's trying to find that happy medium. I mean, of course, a study abroad program could be canceled at any time due to COVID-19, but we also don't, if it doesn't seem realistic by these dates to operate a program, then we would certainly want to save everybody the hassle of proceeding if it doesn't look like it's going to be viable. Yeah, we are doing our best to hopefully allow these opportunities to happen for you guys. And we are hopeful that things will hopefully improve. So just to give you a little bit of an understanding on how that works. I'm happy to answer more questions on this, certainly at the end if you have any questions on this. So what can you do now? So I'll let Jillian kind of explain a little bit about our virtual global education experiences.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, when I first heard about these, I was kind of like, what? Like studying abroad, right, is about like being in a new place, but this is different, obviously, because everything is different right now. So we as a team on the study abroad office don't want to leave you with no way to engage with other people in other places. So we have developed these virtual global educational experiences that allow you to sort of engage through something like an internship or through coursework with people around the world. So you know, the reason that you might want to do this is because, like I said, you can engage with individuals, you can still stay at home and be comfortable while doing that, but, you know, different cultures and different sort of experiences. Of course, you're going to be working on developing great communication skills in the process. And I just sort of think, like, why not take advantage of this time when we have to stay at home anyway, right? If broadening your horizons is something you're interested in, and if you are looking to do some sort of global experience, there are still ways to do that even without traveling to the country. And while we recognize that it's very different from being somewhere new, there are still ways to connect through all of the technology that we have available now.
So last summer, obviously, was the first time we launched these programs, and this was very new. So we had a range of different programs on offer, and you can see what some of these programs were on our website. We have a listing of fall programs here, and we will be releasing shortly our spring and summer offerings. So if you want to get an international experience, you're not sure if you're feeling comfortable about going abroad right now, or if you're not sure if you can get a study abroad in before you graduate, or if if you're not sure you can afford to study abroad, these are more accessible options. So I'd encourage you to look into these if any of those things are considerations for you. So we have what's known as virtual learning experiences. So some of our international partners who are offering these virtual learning experiences include our partner Siena Italian Studies, which offers some different coursework that you just won't find at Geneseo. Coursework related to Italian, but also related to Italian history and culture. Ahmed East, which is a program that we work with in Jordan and Morocco. Webster Athens, Webster University Athens. Again, they offer some coursework you just won't be able to get at Geneseo. But then the other thing that I would encourage you to think about is our virtual internships, including our internship through Kaya Responsible Travel, which allows you to intern with an organization in Ecuador, Morocco, South Africa, Thailand, or Vietnam. And they provide some really cool experiences just outside of the internship as well, including cultural workshops, local buddies, a career toolkit, as well as this one actually was quite popular last summer. We had a number of students participate in this program. This is through FSC Uganda, which is a program we normally send students to every summer. And students were able to get paired up with a local NGO in the country and help work on grassroots development work with the community. So while it had to happen virtually this past summer, students were still able to get hands-on experience with development work from home. So that's a little bit about our virtual experiences. If you're interested in them, like I said, we will be updating our website shortly with our spring and summer 2021 options. But to go on a little bit more about our regular study abroad offerings, these are often the reasons we hear students say they can't study abroad, whether it's academic program requirements. And the thing I would encourage you to do is to talk to your academic advisor and plan early for study abroad. But even if you're a junior or senior, come talk to us and we can work out maybe some ways that we can make study abroad happen still for you. It's always good to plan early for study abroad. Find out from your academic advisor when the best time is for you to study abroad, as well as what coursework to say for study abroad. Obviously, electives are always going to be the easiest thing for you to take abroad, but you can certainly do gen eds as well as your major and minor requirements while you're abroad. And in fact, actually, there was research not too long ago, and it was found that Geneseo students who study abroad graduate more on time than those who don't. So, I think it's because of the academic planning that you guys do when you do choose to study abroad to make sure everything is going to fit in and come back smoothly. Fear, I know for me, I was the only person from my friend group who was studying abroad, and I was the only person from my university to study abroad during the semester that I went on the program that I went on. And I know there was definitely a level of fear in that respect for myself, being like, what am I doing leaving all my friends and family behind for this semester? But like I said, it was one of the most rewarding semesters, and I wouldn't be here, without that experience. So I mean, fear can take different fashions, for everybody. It can be fears of a lot of things, but that was a fear for me. Family, certainly family may not support you financially, or they may not support the idea of you studying abroad. And certainly that's something that we're always happy in the study abroad office to talk with any family members. Finances and financial aid, and we'll jump a little bit more in that in a minute, but certainly the costs. and safety concerns, especially in light of COVID-19. I understand that there's some fear and worry about studying abroad during this time due to safety concerns. But again, that is something I'm happy to address any questions that you have. So as far as costs go, I'm going to show you a couple cost sheets just so you can kind of understand how costs are factored. But your major costs are your program differential, which includes your health insurance. All SUNY students studying abroad receive a SUNY International Health Insurance, which covers everything from your doctor's visit to a hospital visit, tuition, housing and accommodations, and your flights. Some other cost considerations include your passport, your visa, study abroad deposit, which isn't an additional cost, it's just part of what you would have to, part of the program differential that you would have to pay up front to confirm your spot in the program, and spending money when you're there. So to show you an example of an exchange program, this is the cost sheet, and all of our programs have cost sheets for the University of Groningen program. And you can see that there's a slightly different cost for out-of-state versus New York State residents. So for a New York State resident, the application charge is the same no matter what program you go on. It's a $20 application charge. And then there is a study abroad differential. And the differential can be different depending on the program. So in the case of the Groningen program, or in the case of pretty much all of our exchange programs, this is your exchange fee and your international health insurance. You have tuition and the college fee that you would pay to student accounts, but you don't have to pay any of your other fees when you're the semester you're studying abroad. And then you have other estimated costs, and this again varies depending on the program. So your airfare, accommodations, food, etc. So they say it costs about $12,000 to $13,000 to be a resident student on campus at Geneseo, and you can see the overall cost for this program for this semester, including your flight and everything, is very similar. In comparison, a one-directional program can vary. They're not always more expensive, but they sometimes can be more expensive. And to give you an idea of one of those cost sheets, here is the Webster University Athens program that we work with. Again, the differential is different up at the top because what's included is different for this program. And Webster University is a private institution, so their tuition is a good bit more than Geneseo's. So you have a shared room and student housing, tuition, textbooks, excursions, health insurance, all that is included at the top. Standard tuition, the college fee, and the other expected costs. This program you can see costs quite a bit more than the other one. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Like I said, not all one-directional programs, not all non-exchange programs are more expensive. We have some that are less or about the same, but I just wanted to show you another example. Now, our short-term programs, our faculty-led programs, our short-term post-institution programs, you got to remember that you're always paying outside of when you normally would be taking classes. So they typically cost a little bit more, but they range anywhere depending on how long you're going and what's included. They can range anywhere from about $4,000 to $10,000 for that kind of experience. I'd say most of them are around anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000 for a summer or short-term program. So it just kind of varies, and that's including like everything. That's your flight, that's your vaccines, if you need vaccines, that's your pre-departure expenses, that sort of thing. Okay. So how do you afford study abroad? Like I said, there's a lot of programs that cost about the same as being at Geneseo. but there, as you saw, there's some programs that cost a bit more. If the program costs more, typically you'll get access to additional loan money. So financial aid is evaluated on the based on the cost sheet. So what would happen is after you're accepted, you would meet with financial aid, and you would they would factor out your financial aid based on the cost sheet. So typically, yes, financial aid applies on a semester program, just as if you were here. And as long as you're following the rules associated with the financial aid. So just like at Geneseo, you need to take courses that apply to your major. That kind of same rule applies while you're abroad. If you're going over the summer, if you're a Pell Grant recipient, you could get additional aid over the summer. If you are not a Pell Grant recipient, as long as you take at least 6 credits over the summer, you can access your financial aid. And it does overall pull from your aid package for the year, but you can use it as long as you take 6 credits. And that could be like 3 credits at Geneseo, 3 credits, 3 credits for your study abroad, and 3 credits of an online course over the summer. So it doesn't have to be a 6 credit study abroad program per se. Scholarships and grants. We do offer some scholarships and grants through our office. We have Geneseo-specific study abroad scholarships that range from $500 to $1,000 that you would apply to after you've been accepted to study abroad. In addition, there's outside scholarships such as the Benjamin Gilman Scholarship, which I'd highly encourage all Pell Grant recipients to apply for, Fund for Education Abroad Scholarship, as well as some others, and you can check out our scholarships on our website. Just a quick note about the Gold Amethyst program. If any of you guys are interested in doing getting a gold certificate, earning a gold certificate, there is one specific for global engagement. This has 2 required pre-departure workshops, 2 workshops for when you return, re-entry workshops, and a few other workshops, and they're all structured to help you get ready for your study abroad experience. For example, I lead one on intercultural competency models, and teaching you about some of these competency models to help inform and prepare you for your study abroad experience and how to get the most out of your study abroad experience. So I'll turn it over to Jillian.
Okay, so now that we just threw buckets of information at you, you can gather the tools to get started. So first, we recommend always that you set up some kind of meeting if you have any sort of questions about the application or like choosing a program. And you can do that by just contacting our office, send us an email, or give us a call. That information is on the next slide. And you can always just Google SUNY Geneseo Study Abroad. It'll bring you right to our page, which is where you can find our email and phone number, as well as a list of our programs, all of the sort of financial aid information, cost sheets, anything about the global educational experience right now, and our COVID-19 FAQ page. So I really recommend like checking that website out first, and then come to us with any questions and we can schedule a meeting for you. I'm in the office on Tuesdays from 8:30 to 10:30 and 12:30 to 3:30. That information's on the website. So if you wanted to meet with me, we can set up a Zoom meeting and chat about what you're interested in doing. But we have people available all throughout the work week to talk with you about study abroad. So just send us an email, we'll set up an appointment, and you can chat with us over Zoom. And then when you get to the application part, you sort of want to plan ahead as much as possible, which is fairly easy to do right now considering things are all shaken up. So we're kind of like planning pretty far in the future, but you should try to apply like a semester ahead of time. And we do applications through something called Horizons, which you can access through our webpage as well. And that's something that we can help you navigate if you need, but it's pretty straightforward. And then sometimes, depending on what kind of program you're applying to, you'll have to do a supplemental application, which is usually for like a host institution. You'll have to do our study abroad application, and then usually something extra for that host institution where you're hoping to attend. So that's sort of what we recommend for this point going forward. Do you want to add anything, Emily?
Yeah, just on our website, I just want to point out that we just added a information about when our applications open, so you can expect this. This kind of gives you the dates you can expect applications to be open, and also it gives you kind of a range of the application deadlines. So this is on our website under Apply, and if you go here, you can find out. For example, if you're interested in fall or academic year, you can see the application will open on January 1st, and that the application deadlines will range from about March 1st or to March 15th. I will say summer is a little wonky this year because of COVID. We are not opening the application until January 1st, but again, the deadlines will be February, March. Nothing will be due in the fall. So if you're anticipating applying for this summer, that's when you would do it. And then I'm gonna stop sharing, pull up my screen again. And I saw we had some chats coming in, so I want to see if I can answer any questions. And then if you guys have any other questions, feel free to throw it in the chat box or turn off your mic and feel free to ask us any questions.
Thanks for listening to us.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I see some education majors, and that's where I would really emphasize talking to your academic advisor, and it's good that you're planning early. So any questions? I know right now is a really tricky time to, think about study abroad, but like I said, I do have full hope that, by the end of 2021, things will get back to normal as much as possible, and that we'll be able to send you guys abroad again here soon. So it's good that you're planning. So I got a question about being a chemistry major and would it be difficult to plan for your junior year? Again, I would talk to your academic advisor and find out when the best time to go is. Two programs I would suggest of ours to look at if you're a chemistry major specifically would be the University of the West Indies, which is in Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad, and Tobago. So you can study at any of the three locations. Another really good one for chemistry is actually Sogong University in South Korea. And like I said, they do offer coursework in English. So that's, I guess, a myth associated with study abroad is to study abroad, you need to know the language. Like Jillian said, she studied in the Netherlands and she was able to take coursework in English. So there's only a handful of our programs where you need to know the language to study. Now, I would highly encourage you to work on your language while you're there and to try to learn as much as you can, and also beforehand, but it certainly wouldn't prohibit you from being able to study in these locations. Was it hard for you to study in a non-English speaking country? I know in the Netherlands, Jillian, they speak a lot of English.
Yeah. Oh, do we have? Okay, never mind. There's some feedback there. I didn't have much of a problem at all. They speak quite a bit of English. I did learn some Dutch because it's first of all a really interesting language, I think, but it's also just respectful to try at least. So I did. I think probably the biggest barrier was the grocery store. Reading like ingredient labels, those were usually in Dutch. So I bought some strange things a couple times, which was like kind of cool, I guess, but things I didn't intend to buy because I just didn't know what they were.
Yeah.
So that was really like, I think the biggest, I wouldn't even call it a challenge because it was just kind of fun. So
Yeah.
not a bad time.
Well, thank you. We, like Jillian said, she's available on Tuesdays. We are always available and happy to do a follow-up advising appointment with any of you guys if you have additional questions. Um, and I'm also happy to put you in touch with any students who studied abroad in any of the locations that you're interested in going. So maybe you're wondering about studying in Peru. I can put you in touch with, for example, a student who studied in Peru, and you can hear from a student directly what that experience was like. Okay. Thank you so much, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
You're
Good luck
welcome.
moving forward. Hope to hear from you soon.